And now may I speak in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
What you do when you're called upon to preach about a gospel reading that contains what is probably the most often quoted verse in the Bible. Do you look for a fresh perspective and new insights? Well, I've opted to look beyond it. I don't think there's anything new I can particularly say about God so loved the world, he sent his only begotten Son. I've decided to consider something about the character of Nicodemus. Who was he? We actually find out quite a lot about him in this passage. He was a learned scholar, a city gent, an upright citizen. He was a member of the Sanhedrin, a highly respected group of influential people. But something troubled him. Who was this Jesus? He recognized him as a fellow teacher with something new to say, but was concerned also that he might pose a threat. So he decided to go and see him. Not openly, though, people might ask questions, and that would never do for a pillar of the community. So he went under cover of darkness, which in John's writing is a sign for doing something secretive. He does not actually say to Jesus, "What are you up to?" But that is the gist of his line of questioning. It looks naive to us that Nicodemus should even ask the question about going back into the mother's womb. But the idea of being born again did not fit into the mindset of the culture of which he was part. Jesus was, yet again, being revolutionary, turning the world upside down. But are we not too prone to be the same today, settling for the easier way, not liking to be challenged? Lent is a time when we should be challenged, when we should put ourselves outside our comfort zones. For some of us, that will be making an effort to engage more with people. For others, it will be to try to spend more time alone in quiet contemplation. On Friday, as I took this reflection out for a walk, I always find sermons that sound so much better when you're walking around the streets with me. I thought about my neighbours, who on the most part no more than nodding acquaintances. I thought about where I was walking. It's easy to take what we know for granted. I was close to home, but I took a slightly different route to usual. It made me think about my relationship with Christ. Is my relationship with him deeper than a nodding acquaintance? It is far too easy to get stuck, and perhaps Nicodemus felt stuck. He had a comfortable place in society, but he felt there was more to find out. We should always be looking for ways to go deeper. And where did this lead? Nicodemus does not become a leading player in the Gospel, but we do meet him again once more in chapter 7, where he appears to be defending Jesus, openly asking Jesus questions along with his fellow scholars. He is coming out of the shadows. Then in chapter 19, we meet him at the foot of the cross. He is named alongside Joseph of Arimathea. He anoints the body with myrrh and aloes. So these three separate mentions, the last of which shows a deep relationship with Christ. He was prepared to ask questions, to take risks, to go outside his comfort zone. He turned his life upside down. He recognized Jesus as his Lord and Saviour. The questions he asked at their initial meeting had prompted him to delve deeper. He did not return to his comfortable life as a pillar of society, unchanged. It is amazing what a different impression you get when you go a little bit outside your usual habits. I should try taking that walk a different route more often. And in the light of the coronavirus, and as Stephen said, we have new guidelines about how we relate together. I want to say a little bit about that today. We advise that we don't shake hands or embrace during the peace, but that doesn't mean that we don't share God's love and peace by our gestures, our attitude, a simple nod. And it's also important to remember that we might have gone knocking on people's doors sometimes, being friendly. It's wise not to do that, but a phone call instead. People will feel more and more isolated when they don't feel able to get out and about. But if we can take up the effort to pick up the phone and make people feel connected, that's a short way, a small way in which we can help. At the Eucharist, we will receive only in one kind. It will seem odd to not receive the bread and wine, but it will maybe focus our minds on the sacrifice that Christ made, and not taking for granted the way we behaved all our lives is good for us. And we continue to pray for all who are affected by the virus around the world, and all who are trying to find a cure. And it made me think about washing, the importance of water. We take for granted clean water here. I have a cup here at my feet. Should I need it, we just turn on the tap and there it is. But if you consider where water comes from, how many people don't have it, how we need to use it wisely. And when we wash our hands, we've been advised to sing happy birthday, which seems a bit silly really. One will say a prayer instead. Think about it. The Lord's Prayer takes about as long to say as happy birthday sung twice, or other words of scripture that seem appropriate. Just creative ways to engage with God at a time of trouble. How deep are we prepared to go in our relationship with Christ? Will we ask the difficult questions? Will we walk the extra mile? Lent is a season when going deeper is particularly appropriate. It's a time for quiet prayer, individually and collectively. It would be good to find time to try reading something new and challenging. It's a time to act to make a difference, whether it's as simple as remembering to turn the light off or as dramatic as making a new start in a new place. Time to look beyond the familiar sound bites in the Bible and to delve deeper. Where are we in our relationship with Christ? Are we in the darkness, asking questions alone and unnoticed? Or are we in the light at the foot of the cross? Amen.
Amen.